Welcome back, week 5, video 3. So we're talking about what happens to these enslaved people as they are landing and getting ready to be sold. So near the West Indies, the enslaved begin being prepared for sale. One of the things that happens to these individuals is that they are shaved. All of the hair is shaved off of all of the slaves. They're also washed with fresh water. Now, they have not had a bath or been washed the entire journey until this point. There's honestly not enough water aboard these ships as is, so they save the water until they land, and then they wash the slaves then. In addition, the slaves are forced to vigorously exercise. Now, this is intentional to make their muscles look more pronounced and to make them look healthier than they are. So the middle passage will end with the process of landing and sale. Usually, the first place that a ship is anchored is at a Lesser Antilles island. These are like Barbados, St. Kitts, or Antigua. Now, once they are at that port of call, it will be decided how they are going to handle the enslaved aboard their ship, whether they're going to sell them all, or if they're only going to sell a few here and then go on to other ports and sell slaves at each port. So there's a number of different ways this can happen. They could also be, the enslaved could also be taken all the way to North America. Now, many times, once they land and they know what slaves are being sold on wherever they're landed at, the port where they're stationed, what's going to happen is a bunch of other things to the slaves. Now, keep in mind that the cruelty, the disease, the punishments, the confinement, all need to be remedied, because you don't want the enslaved peoples to look abused or broken or injured in any way when you take them to the sale. So one of the things that these slave crews do, the slaver crews do, is that they put oil all over the bodies of the enslaved. Now, this is done for a number of reasons, but the biggest one is just that it hides blemishes. You can kind of hide rashes, bruises, other skin ailments. And then, I don't know if you guys have ever felt raw cotton. Raw cotton is not soft. It's not like a t-shirt made out of cotton. It's like rough. It's almost like house insulation. If you felt that, it's, it doesn't have glass in it like insulation does. But raw cotton is rough. The next thing that I'm going to tell you is incredibly brutal. It's hard to hear. But what the surgeons do if someone is suffering from dysentery is they take a ball of raw cotton and physically force it up the anus to plug the anus and keep the person from leaking bodily fluids while they are being sold. This is to keep those buying the slaves from knowing whether or not someone has dysentery. So once all of this happens to the enslaved, they are taken off. They're going to market. Market can happen to one of two ways. Either they're taken off the ship and taken to sale yards, or they remain on the ship's decks. And the people who are buying the enslaved will come to the deck, pick their slaves, and then leave with them. So close physical inspections will happen from physical buyers. The enslaved are usually sometimes roped together, but usually more just like corralled or herded. And